Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Why now might be the best time to buy platinum. Let's explore. As you know, on this channel, gold and silver are discussed most of all, but we also talk about platinum, palladium, rhodium, and yes, even copper and other base metals as well as exotic metals. I do think, though, that platinum is probably one of the most fascinating considering its physical properties. It is the densest of all the precious metals that are traded, and it is also quite unique. It is very dense, and it has a very interesting hue. And in fact, there's a whole group of metals that are named after it, the PGMs, the Platinum Group Metals. And some people say, well, it's kind of dull. But, I think it shines bright in its own way. And I like the look of platinum. But why should you think about buying it right now? Well, you may remember in prior videos where I've discussed, what platinum is used for, especially compared to palladium. Those two metals are essentially at war with each other as catalysts. They are the most common catalyst metals out there. Platinum is more abundant than palladium, but palladium tends to be used mostly for gasoline engines, which are far more numerous than diesel engines, which is what platinum was used for. As we know, there was a big lawsuit with Volkswagen over its platinum, over its catalytic emission standards and cheating on the emission standards. So therefore, there was not as much demand because their stock fell and Volkswagen had a hard time dealing with that, and so therefore platinum prices, they dropped fairly significantly. And there was a time when platinum was much more expensive than gold and other metals. In fact, palladium was trading, I remember, because I bought some at its low at around $167 an ounce. And platinum was much higher. But nowadays the roles are reversed and palladium has been much, much higher. So we're going to be referencing an article here from Bloomberg that talks a little bit about what this catalyst is, pun intended here, and why you might consider buying platinum now. But you have to also look at the long term as to what the headwind will be for both metals down the road. A rally in palladium that's seen it more than triple in value since mid-2018 looks to be nearing its end as demand headwinds build. Around 85% of global supply of the silvery white metal is used in pollution-reducing catalytic converters and gasoline engines. The surge in prices coupled with advances in technology, however, are making it more attractive for automakers to use the much cheaper platinum. The retooling of those, you've heard me talk about that, but apparently it's a lot more complex and it's going to take a lot more of the price separation for that to happen, but we're nearing that time now. Further out, palladium faces an existential threat as electric vehicles gradually replace those using gasoline, meaning the current rally could well be its last. And we know that there's some mandates, some of these nations around the world saying that you have to have so many electric vehicles by 2030. We'll see how that plays out. Nonetheless, palladium has troubled its fellow major precious metals, platinum and gold, over the last few years. It benefited from stricter emission standards in China and Europe, as well as a shift away from diesel-powered vehicles, which use platinum in their catalytic converters. And of course, you heard me talk about the Volkswagen emissions cheating scandal in 2015. Mine output, mainly from Russia and South Africa, has struggled to keep up, resulting in a deep supply deficit. This saw palladium prices surge past gold and platinum. The metal really took off in 2018, jumping from $834 an ounce in August of that year to above 3,000 in May of 2021 before easing to around $2,630. Now, given that it was so cheap, the United States Mint put out its Palladium Eagle in 2017, mainly because they thought it was an opportunity to provide a bullion program that was a little less expensive than gold, but yet more prestigious than silver. And that was what their goal was. And obviously that failed miserably as the prices started to skyrocket then. In fact, in 2017, when the first bullion coins were issued towards the end of that year, they only did a run of 15,000 of them. And now it sells for quite a bit of a numismatic value above spot for the bullion coin, which I have. And you can see that if you search videos on this channel, you will be able to see that in an unboxing. Now, in May 2021, it did ease back to around $2,630. Greater platinum use in gasoline engines is being driven by the tri-metal catalyst technology developed by German company BASF SE, which makes auto catalysts. The technology allows partial substitution of palladium with platinum and is being introduced in smaller vehicles from the years 2022 and 2023. We see the beginnings of platinum being substituted back into gasoline and catalytic converters, said David Ajali, head of sales and market insight at global miner Anglo American PLC. This will bring palladium back from its fundamental supply deficit and closer to balance. Folks, this is the first real news that this is going to be happening. And so this could mean that palladium prices could possibly fall, which means I'm not buying any more palladium, and that platinum prices could rise, which means that I should probably buy more platinum. I'm going to tell you why I'm not, though, this year, but why it may be a good idea for you to consider it, even though I'm not a financial advisor. You know, you do your own due diligence and research, but this is coming from Bloomberg. This is a pretty interesting story indeed. If what they're saying is true, then it could be a good short to medium term proposition. And I'll tell you why it may be not a good long-term proposition. We've kind of hinted about that earlier. Russia's MMC Norilsk Nickel PJSC is the world's top palladium supplier, followed by South African miners including Sibanye-Stillwater, which, by the way, Stillwater Mines was also in Montana, and Anglo American Platinum Limited, a unit of Anglo American. But while the threats are looming, most analysts still see palladium's rally as having some room to run before it enters a long-term decline. UBS Group AG sees palladium rising again to $2,900 an ounce by the end of the year, and then falling to $2,500 an ounce by the middle of 2022 as platinum substitution increases. And I think that's quite possible because there's only a few applications that platinum and palladium have. And the biggest of those is obviously its use as in catalytic converters. So I think that it makes all the sense, I believe, why that could be the case, why you see that substitution there, and why you could see the prices move, and maybe even very close to what they're predicting here. HSBC Holdings PLC forecasts palladium will average $2,740 an ounce this year, and will then decline to $1,190 in 5 years, at which point it will be cheaper than platinum. Citigroup says in mid-July that it expects palladium to rise to $3,200 an ounce within 3 months, and doesn't see platinum substitution becoming sizable until 2023 or 2024. Standard Chartered PLC precious metal analyst Suki Cooper said that demand should remain robust for the next couple of years, with palladium averaging $2,790 an ounce this year and $2,625 an ounce in 2022 before dropping to $2,200 in 2023. So it kind of looks like if you want to be conservative about this, it may be until about 2023 when you start to see the prices stabilize here or shift between platinum and palladium. But the thing is that as palladium is rising and are staying relatively sizable now, and all these other metals are going down, right now might be the best time to buy, because if palladium stays high, then platinum, I believe, will take a greater, platinum will take a decrease with the other metals, and they will be more in line and move at kind of the same rate as the other metals. Potential, in other words, gold and silver could pull platinum down a bit, and palladium may stay relatively stable kind of where it is. And that's kind of what we're seeing with some of these price predictions of where palladium is going to be. They don't really talk about where platinum is going to be, but nonetheless, the post-pandemic recovery in automobile production and tighter emission standards will support consumption in the near term. Mine output will then pick up on the back of planned developments, and together with slow demand, that will see palladium move closer to balance, if not into surplus. Then in the next 5 years, while bullish in the short term, the market getting close to demand-supply equilibrium in about 2023. So there's some time, but I believe that as we start to see the precious metals recover, which I still am kind of sticking with my predictions for this year, by the end of this year, now might be the bottom for platinum. And as prices rise because of other factors, you have to keep in mind that you have to look at platinum as the most stable of the fringe precious metals. I consider the platinum group metals to be fringe precious metals, with platinum the most closely tied to gold and silver, meaning that it's obvious, as you can see here, the examples of coins that are here before you, you can obviously buy investment grade platinum, and more than any other of the platinum group metals out there, especially rhodium, which doesn't trade at all. There's only a few. There's only one coin and a couple of bars, but basically palladium is very rarely traded. In fact, you can't even get it in bullion form, at least in coin form that I know of anymore, but you can buy collectible coins. But nonetheless, platinum, I think, provides an opportunity for those who are interested. Now, that's just my thinking on it. Doesn't mean it's necessarily right, and the timing of this may not be right, but prices may surge to fresh highs, according to James Steele, of $3,100, and look increasingly frothy at that level before they go back down. He says that the final act for palladium will likely begin towards the end of this decade as the transport fleet starts to significantly move away from fossil fuels. Electric vehicles will account for a third of global auto sales in 2030, up from 4.3% in 2020, according to Bloomberg. Palladium demand will increase in the short term due to stringent emission regulations. But by 2025, however, 16% of new passenger vehicles sold will be electric, and that could be the decline of both metals being utilized. So this is a short to medium term play, but if any of the metals should be considered investments, it is the platinum group metals, because of their unique and limited supply and their use as for very, very narrow uses as catalyst. So it's something to consider if you are in the market. I like the metal as a collector, but also see it as a diversification tool, which is why I bought the most that I've ever bought last year in 2020. In fact, 3/4 of what you see here is what I bought back in 2020. This piece here, I bought for $500 back in 2000 something. I forget exactly, but $500 for this coin. But nonetheless, there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below about platinum. How close do you think this assessment is to being able to retool and to be able to use platinum and take advantage of its lower price now before it goes up and then falls again? But nonetheless, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.